Our little healer is a courageous young boy who dreams to be a great healer one day. He loves to treat people and animals with the knowledge he has of medicine. Every day, our little healer wakes up early morning and go to meet the patients who have come from all across the village to get treatments. The little healer runs all over the village and the jungle to find the ingredients for his powerful yet simple recipes so he can treat the patients on time. It's a good thing that he remembers where to look for in order to find the ingredients. What do you get inside the game box? Game board. Ingredient card. Patient card. Patient waiting list. Patient waiting list beginner mode. Action card. Game number 1. Run, little healer. Run. Use the little healer gets a set of patients looking for your medicine. No time to waste. It's time to find those medicine quickly. This game is really easy to understand. You have a line of patients waiting for you to cure them. There are ingredients required to make medicine to cure the patients. These ingredients are scattered all around the game board. All you need to do is find them quickly as possible and heal the patients. But wait. There is a twist. You can only visit a given number of places in order to find the cure. Or else time will not be enough to cure the poor fellow. Therefore, you will have to use your precious memory power to find the ingredients quickly. Are you ready for the challenge? Place all the ingredient cards randomly on the board game on the squares in each location. Now shuffle the patient cards. Select 6 random patient cards. And discard the rest of the patient cards. These are the patients that need your skills as a healer to be cured. Look at them, poor little things. Let's help them and make them happy by quickly finding the ingredients to your medicine and healing them. Now take the patient waiting list card. This is where all the patients wait until their time comes for you to take care of them. In the patient waiting list card, you can observe 2 levels written on each side. Easy level and hard level. Choose which level you want to play. If you are a beginner, we recommend starting with the easy level. Once you have selected a level, place the patient waiting list card with the level you have chosen facing up. Great! Now randomly place the patient cards you got in each rectangle drawn on it, starting from the upper left rectangle. Place the patient cards with the ingredient side facing up. That's it. Now you are fully ready to start the game. Notice the numbers written on the patient waiting list card on top of your patient cards. These are the number of places you can visit to find ingredients to cure each of the patients. As an example, the first patient card has the number 9 written on top of it on the patient waiting list card. This is common for both easy and hard levels. This means you can go to 9 locations to find the ingredients you need to cure the patient. Alright, now that you have set up the board, let's go and learn how to play. First, you have to heal the patient who is first on the waiting list. This is the patient at the upper left side corner of your patient list, with the number 9 written on top of it. You can heal only 1 patient at a time. That means you cannot acquire ingredient cards for more than 1 patient at one time. Now that you know the patient to treat, look at the ingredients you need to cure the patient. Now that you know what to do, it is time to run around the locations looking for ingredients. But be careful. There is a limit to how many places you can go. Now, take the small round card set with a very own little healer drawn on it. These are the action cards. Now you can randomly visit a place to look for medicine. Once you have decided on a location to visit in order to find ingredients, you need to place one of these cards on that location to mark that you visited that place. When you visit a location, you can turn all the ingredient cards face up to reveal what each of them is. You can take all your time to look at them carefully, memorize them, and also see if there is an ingredient you need in order to treat the patient first in your list. At the same time, you can memorize the location you flipped if there is an ingredient you will need in order to treat a future patient. Once you have found an ingredient that the first patient on the patient waiting list needs, quickly grab it and place the ingredient card on top of the patient card. After that, you need to flip back the ingredient cards you don't need to heal the patient you are treating right now. Now visit another location by placing an action card on the location and flipping all the ingredient cards there for you to see. You can visit 9 places like this for the first patient, as it says 9 on the patient waiting list above a patient card. That means you can spend 9 action cards by placing them on locations on the board for the first patient. You can visit a location any number of times you want, as long as you have action cards to spend. In this manner, collect all 3 cards for that patient from your player turns and place all 3 on the patient card. Great! Well done! Now the patient is treated. Then the next patient in the line, from the left side, becomes your first patient to be treated. Now you have to go to each location again and find ingredients to treat that patient. But be careful. You only have the ability to visit locations up to the number mentioned above on the patient card. You can always find the number of places you have visited by counting how many action cards you have placed on the board. If you cannot find all ingredients by visiting that many locations, you cannot heal the patient because you are too late. You have lost the game. But once you finish treating all the patients in the patient list within the number of locations it says you can visit, you win the game. Congratulations! You are a great healer. Game number 2. Run, Little Healer, Run, Beginner Mode. This is similar to game number 1, but this is more suitable for little kids. To set up the game in beginner mode, first look at the ingredient card set. Notice that these cards have a symbol in the bottom left corner. There are 3 types of symbols like this: pink circle, yellow triangle and orange square. And all the cards have one of these 3 symbols. In order to set up the game, you need to select ingredient cards belonging to one of these symbols. Select patient cards that have the same symbol on them. Now you have ingredient cards and patient cards all having the same symbol. Place the ingredient cards randomly 1 card in 1 location each. After placing ingredient cards on all 9 places, if you have more ingredient cards, place them randomly 1 each, on any place you like. Take the beginner mode patient waiting list card and notice there are 2 levels similar to game number 1. Choose your level to proceed. Rest of the play is exactly similar to game number 1. The only difference between game number 1 and game number 2 is the number of ingredient cards and patient cards you get to play the game. Enjoy the game, our little healers. Game number 3. Who shall be the super healer? Number of players: 2 to 4. This is a competitive game that you will have to play against each other. Let's see who is the best healer in the village. First, shuffle the patient cards and give each player 3 cards each. Great! Now each of you is a little healer with a set of patients waiting to get medicine from you. Quickly, let's find those medicine to heal them. Now take the ingredient cards and place them all randomly on the board at each square space face down. Now everything is set. Let's start the game. Decide between each other who is going to go first. After the first player, the player on the right side to the first player takes his or her turn. The player with the turn turns one ingredient card on the board and reveal it to everybody. Then turns it back face down in the same place it was. That ends his or her turn. Then the next player does the same thing, turning another ingredient, showing it to everybody, and then placing it back face down. What you need to do is simple. Each player has to keep the 3 patient cards in front of the player with the medicines needed to cure the patients facing up. Each player needs to see all medicines and patient cards each of them has got clearly. Each player takes 1 patient card to the hand. This is the card you need to cure now. You cannot find ingredients for any other patients on your list until you cure the patient in your hand. As the ingredient cards are turned by each player, locate the 3 ingredient cards needed to treat the patient in your hand. As soon as you identify all 3 places the 3 ingredients are, you need to wait till your player turn. And then in your player turn, place the patient card in front of everyone and take out all 3 ingredients you have identified from the board and place them on that patient card. If you manage to collect all 3 ingredients like this, you treat that patient, and then you can take the next patient card to your hand and focus on treating that patient. Congratulations! All players need to do this with their patient list. If you fail to identify all 3 ingredients once you place the patient card in front of everyone, you have to take the patient card back to your hand and place the ingredient cards you took out in that round back to their original places. To win this game, treat all 3 patients before everyone else does. The first player to cure all 3 patients before everyone else wins the game. You are the master healer. Rules: 1. You can only cure the patient card that is currently in your hand. You can only cure the next patient once you have found the ingredients for the patient in your hand and have cured that patient. 2. You can cure a patient only in your turn. Once you have identified all 3 ingredient cards on the board, you have to wait till your turn to cure the patient in your hand. 3. You have to wait till you have identified the places of all 3 ingredients from the board before you put your patient card in front of you and get the ingredients from the board in your turn. You cannot act before you have identified all 3 places of the ingredients you want. Tip: when you're playing, you have to cure the patient in your hand first. But that doesn't mean you cannot identify the places of ingredients needed for the patients on your waiting list. Try to remember as many locations as possible for the patients on your waiting list, because that might help you advance quickly to cure all 3 patients before everyone else does. It's a challenge. Let's see who can become the master healer. Game number 4. Let's be creative. Individual game. Only 1 player can play at a time. Great healers always grow their ingredients in the places they can easily identify. In this way, they can quickly memorize the places of each ingredient so that they can find them quickly. This is the special secret all the great healers do. Now it's time for you to practice that skill so you too can become a great healer. This game has 2 phases. First phase, the planting phase. First, shuffle the patient card set. Great. Now you can decide which level of difficulty you want to play this game based on the number of patient cards you select to play the game with. You can always start with the easy mode if you are new to this game, and gradually progress as you become a better healer. Let's see how you decide the difficulty level you want to play. Easy level, take 3 patient cards. Normal level, take 6 patient cards. Hard level, take 9 patient cards. Okay. Now you have selected your patients. Turn over these cards so that you can see the ingredients needed to cure the patients. Now select the ingredients you need from the ingredients card pile. Since you now have collected all the ingredients matching your patient cards, it's time to start the game. This is where it becomes really interesting. You now have to grow the ingredients in different locations of the board and keep them in your memory. Now take the 3 ingredient cards required for one patient. Let's call this the first patient, and place them face down on any 3 locations of the board. Special rule: you cannot place more than 1 ingredient card out of 3 cards in one location. If you place 1 ingredient on a square on the pond location, you cannot place any of the other 2 ingredient cards that are there to cure that particular patient on a box in the location pond. So how do you place the ingredient cards so that you can easily remember them afterwards? This is where all great healers use a powerful trick. It is the power of creativity. When you are placing ingredient cards on the board, you have to create a small story for each card you place. Try to make a story connecting the location you are placing the card on and the animals you see around it. It can be any story. It may be 1 or 2 statements about the ingredient you are placing and the items you see around it. Try to come up with something creative with a little bit of emotions or comedy also wrapped around it. That is the fun part. Use all your creativity. As an example, let's say that the snake lady loves onions. So the snake lady takes all the onions and keep them with it. Now the place of the onions is planted in your memory along with the snake lady and the little story we created. The story doesn't have to make sense. Just crazy enough to plant it in your brain for later to memorize back. Place all 3 ingredient cards for the first patient card and then place the patient card face down in front of you. Now repeat the process for other patient cards as well. Again, remember, for one patient card, the 3 ingredient cards related to that patient cannot be placed in one location. The 3 has to be in 3 different locations. But ingredient cards of other patients can be placed in an empty square on a location you have placed an ingredient card related to a different patient. Place patient cards on top of the other, face down. Once the 3 ingredient cards related to it has been placed on the board. Once you have placed all the ingredient cards related to all the patient cards you have, that is the end of the planting phase. Great. Phase 2. Healing phase. This phase is where you find the ingredients to heal your patients. Are you ready for the challenge? Now turn the patient card pile you have placed upside down and take the first patient card. This is the very first patient card for which you place the ingredients on the board. Now, what do you have to do? You need to remember the exact places where you grew the ingredients on the map and pick them up to cure the patient. Once you heal the first patient, take the second patient and repeat the process using your memory. To win this game, you need to heal all your patients by picking up the ingredients from the places you grew them, by remembering your little stories. Let's heal all the patients you have got. You are a great healer already. Look at the good you are doing. People are getting cured because of your memory power. Well done.